Hey everyone, hope you all had a great weekend. Thanks for joining me on September the 19th. And as always, we are not financial advisors and everything you see on here is for educational purposes only. Alright, let's get started with BTC. So, a lot has actually happened since our last public update since last Monday. And I mean a lot. So, we didn't get our 25K, which I really wanted. And again, it was more of a I want than it actually, hey, this is a real target. Because that would have gave us a really good blueprint of where the whole market is gonna go, right? Unfortunately, it didn't play out. Technically, it still can, but I'm gonna just wait a little bit longer for that. I'll give an update later on that. So BTC went up a little bit more since last update, but then hit a top trend line. So BTC got hit with the triple whammy. BTC hit a top of a long trend line. It was due for a retrace because of so much green. So it was due for a retrace. And then the CPI numbers came out and completely wrecked the whole market, both crypto and stock market. So again, nice big old red candle on that triple whammy. I mentioned we could go sideways for a while. So we just went kind of like down, up. Now, when we went down, we actually landed a white fib. And then I mentioned, hey, it's a temporary reversal up, and then we're going to drop back down, and we could drop all the way down to the bottom trend line, which we did. We had another little strong fib up here, but I mentioned hey, it's right next to the white fib, so if it holds, then obviously the market will push back up, but unfortunately it didn't, and we had a nice big drop. So so real quick, we are currently on another white fib right now. I know it's super annoying. There's so many white fibs. So this represents a temporary reversal up and then a drop back down. So the tricky thing in here is, one, it's telling me now we have two white fibs below this trend line. So if we drop below the trend line, we're going to drop a little bit. I don't think we're going to drop a crazy amount, and I'll go over shortly why. But there's a bunch of things in between here. I'm just going to try to get them out the way. So let's get out the fib first. So we're on a we're on a white fib right now at 18, and I'll write this down at, let's just say 18,284. Okay, so we have another reversal fib. This BTC should push down back down a bit later on today. I don't think it's going to dump all the way back down because it's recovered so much, but it is going to push down a little bit more. Again, this is just like the dead cat bounce, right? It dropped and pushing back up real fast. It should drop a little bit more. Maybe it's where the gray one is. And then we're going to close above this. We're going to close on the white fib. So that means it's going to do a temporary reversal back up. At this point, I can see it's kind of go a little bit sideways and then eventually drop back down. There is always that case we could come all the way back up, touch that top trend line, and then drop back down. But overall, the system's showing, hey, we're still technically bearish, still dropping back down, which is good because every time we drop back down, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to DCA. You know what I mean? Since back up here, I mentioned, hey, you know what? We're really close to the bottom. I'm going to start DCAing now because the last thing I want to do is keep waiting for lower prices, right? As we keep dropping back down towards our 17K, we'll keep buying more and more and more. Something happened recently, and I'm going to be upfront with everybody. A certain psychic came out and posted a price below 10,000, and that's actually 3 of them that I know of, right? And there's a few influencers out there saying oh, but Bitcoin below 10,000. I got wrecked the last bear market because Bitcoin went from 3,000 up to 6,000, and everybody, and a special psychic that I actually follow, and I'm not going to blame her because it's my fault for doing this, said, hey, we're going to drop back down to 3K. We were at 6,000, so that's 50%. So yeah, I want 50% more of whatever coins I have. So I sold a bunch of ZIL, Theta, and VET. Hey, a bunch of coins that did amazing in this bull market, and all because I got greedy and I wanted it to go lower. Sorry, my cat's making a bunch of noise. I wanted it to go lower and I wanted to make more coins, and what happened? It only kept going up. So this is why I'm dollar cost averaging now, because I'm not going to make that same mistake again. I'm not going to get greedy and be oh, you know what? I want the cheapest price. Nah, I'm good. I'm good at a good price. I'll keep adding to my bag as it keeps going down. Now, with that said, it still kind of hints us it's still going to drop down. Even on the last video, I was hey, I want this big old pattern to play out, and this is why. And I showed you, this cool pattern and everything. but the alt still said, hey, we still have, bearish targets that, they're still open, and we still always had that 17K. Now, with that said, we still have a white fib there, so I'm going to remove that, and then I'll put it here. I'm just going to put that right now for now. If it doesn't match the number, I'll fix that later. I'll do it now because then people will be like, oh, it doesn't match the number. We'll do 2.5. Okay, so we have to go down to this area. You can see we dropped below this white fib, so we closed that target out. So the 19,320 is out the picture. Ray line is out the picture because obviously it bounced off of that, went up, but it's not going to hit that anymore because, let's see. So now we have a little bit nice, clear picture on that. This was a 2 right there, so I can take this out. And I'm going to explain these two up here shortly. So now we have to drop below 18,225 and 17,622. Now the reason I don't feel like it's going to do like a crazy drop down to 10K and everything, because if we look at the weekly has that bottom resistance down here, and this resistance is 17,600 pretty much. This is what I thought we were going to happen. Remember, like, for those who are in the Discord, like I mentioned, hey, we'll go down, come back up, and then come back down and touch this again. And this is why, another reason why I wanted that double bottom. So if it dropped, it's probably going to drop to that. Could it drop below this? It hasn't yet. Like, I've touched it a few times here. When the whole COVID thing happened, crazy crash, it almost touched it here. So we can touch this easily, and that's 17,600. So for me, is if we drop and close at 17,600, or like barely tap it or something, like that's gonna probably be the bottom on my end. Like that's like my real bottom, right? I mentioned this could be a bottom. Everybody's screaming this was the bottom. I wanted at least a double, a retest of that bottom where it goes up, down before I start buying my coins. And that's what I'm doing now, because I'm not gonna take a risk. Because keep in mind, if too many people become bearish, the market always does the opposite. What's it going to do? It's going to go up, right? And that's the one thing, like, we always have to be careful with. Everybody always makes that mistake. It's like, oh, all of a sudden the market is bearish. So I'm, like, I'm bearish too. I'm going to buy cheaper now. We have to be very, very careful with stuff like that. But for right now, we're going to have to wait to see where we close. Obviously, we're going to close on this white fib, so this will represent, hey, temporary reversal up, and it could be just like over here, little weak candles going up, nothing like, it's not going to go crazy moon and then come back down. It's probably going to go sideways and then drop a little bit. All right, and now when we go over some of the alts, like XRP, I told the group, hey, don't FOMO into XRP. I know it's pumping because of all that FOMO that's going around. I go, XRP is one of the coins that always drops all the way back down. It's already dropped halfway down, right? We still have that target at 30 cents. When it pushed up, I'm like, hey, we still have that target. I'm not going to like run around after it and FOMO. But a lot of the coins came down, hit the reversal fibs, went up. Nothing too much on them right now. Like H-bar came down on a strong reversal fib, has that green candle. Matic broke below. So Matic's not on any reversal of fibs, so Matic can still drop a lot more. We were really hoping Rose would come up and knock out this open target at 0.07. But again, with Bitcoin and the whole market taking a huge crash, it didn't survive either. It's currently on another white fib, so this is a temporary reversal up, and it's going to drop back down. But at least when we come back up, we have, areas where we know where it's going to come back up. So right now, the current price to this price is 77. Oh, that reminds me, I actually skipped something on Bitcoin. If I go to the weekly, Bitcoin has to get above this price again. Remember how I mentioned it has to do a second arrow up, but because the candle turned red, Bitcoin now has a bullish target at 21,860. So what we wanted to do is we don't want it to go up, touch this, because then that still leaves us bearish. We want Bitcoin to go up a little bit, drop, close these out, and then come back up to that. So there is a little bit of bullish momentum on Bitcoin on the weekly. So obviously that takes a little while, and that could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that can be like a month or so from now. But so I forgot to mention that part, but we'll go back. So now with Sheba, now this is cool, but also annoying at the same time because we dropped all the way down to like 999. We needed 987 on Sheba, which kind of sucks because like the target was right there, right? If it would have dropped a little bit more, knocked this target out, that would have been really good on our pattern. Because remember, we technically needed it to drop. I kept, I'm going to draw this picture again. Based on a fractal, we would go up, down, go sideways, down. And that's what we were waiting for. Then we go up, sideways, up. So now you can kind of see this pattern right now. It kind of like resembles a little bit. You might have to take away from here, like ignore this part. But like now you'll have that same like down, sideways, down, like down, sideways, down. Then it's supposed to go back up, go sideways, and then we take off. And that's that big movement that we're waiting on Sheba. But with that, one of these candles alone is like a week or so. So like it would be, it's going to be like all the way. Do we slowly go up or do we drop? Does it drop back down actually? Like, do we drop back down and then come back up? Like, knock this target out and then move up. But if we start breaking above and we break above this little area here, it's the same thing like with, how we knew Luna was going to pump. Hey, if it breaks above this pattern is locked in and we're going to take off. I think at this point, like to lock in this pattern, it would have to be up. If we come down and go back up and go sideways, the pattern will be locked here. Then we just wait for it to go sideways, finally break above that. And that's going to be like 2 weeks of pumping. Remember, each candle represents a bunch of days. So 2 weeks of like, up and down, up and down. And with Luna, I jumped in, rode it up a little bit, got out, had a breakout price, got back in. When it broke out, rode it up. I didn't want to get stuck with Luna, so I don't want to like get in there and like if it dumps, I'll just keep it. With Sheba, I'm gonna stay in the whole 2 weeks because I don't mind if Sheba dumps back down and I have a bag of Sheba, right? Luna is the one I was kind of scared of, so we're not doing none of that. We're not staying in too long. Speaking of Luna. Yesterday we mentioned it is on a strong reversal fib, so the whole market kind of hinted it would go up unless Bitcoin broke. Bitcoin didn't break, so a lot of coins did drop along with it. Luna tends to do the opposite of what Bitcoin does, so it pushed up, so not surprised it pushed up at all. Still looking for it to do some sort of like A, B, and then drop back down to the C. I was showing everybody here, like it technically did, like that Elliott wave, so even though they always say the third is supposed to be the biggest, I've honestly, I've seen it in a bunch of scenarios where the third is not the biggest and then it plays out like that. So not a big fan of the Elliott wave because honestly, I don't see it play out often. And there's always like scenarios like this where it's like, oh, okay. Oh, well, we should, the third needs to be the bigger one. So we'll wait for the next pump and it dumps all the way back down, right? It does people are going to think it's going to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But because this is the 5, because it's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This does the A, B. People get excited and then they get dumped on. And I've seen that way too much. That's why I'm not a big fan of the Elliott wave. But I wanted to show that out. Now here's another one interesting. ISOs for my group who know about my little pattern here. ISOs is another one that has a good potential of a nice big pump. It's touched the zone where I want to buy a bunch of it. Because we need this little drop here. That would be something like this. We're looking for this, for it to dip into this green zone. It dropped a little bit, but not quite there. But if it drops here, then pushes back up again, then obviously, again, we'll look out for like a breakout price. So ISO is looking pretty good. Now, here's one that a lot of people are sleeping on. Came down, hit a strong reversal fib, pushed back up strongly. Look at this pattern on Atom. Like, it's so nice, just straight upward. And then you look at everybody else and it's like down, down, big old downtrend. So if you don't have Atoms, you're kind of sleeping on Atom. Now, for Ethereum, we were all the way up here. We mentioned, hey, look, it got rejected. I can see it's going all the way back down to the bottom trend line, which is 1300. And here we are at the bottom. Now, if Bitcoin does a temporary reversal, then obviously Where's my little drawing pen? There you go. We could even go all the way up a little bit to the very top and then eventually come back down to the 1006. Or we can go up a little bit, and as soon as Bitcoin drops, then this is going to drop too. This is a more likely scenario just because it's kind of where Bitcoin is at as well. So 106 is just right there. So if you want Ethereum, I'd probably wait for that target. As far as everybody else, ADA, it had a nice little push up, all the way up, came back down, and I've told a few people like, hey, look, what's below this, broke up a little bit above, but then broke below, went all the way back up, trying to retest that trend line, and then dropped completely. So our target of 42 cents for ADA is right there. You know what I mean? So it's almost there. Everybody else just kind of dropping down. ZIL came down, strong reversal fit, pushed up. It's actually holding above this trend line, so that's a good sign for ZIL. But everybody else just going sideways for the most part. I think the only thing that's really kind of exciting right now is like Bitcoin, Luna, Sheba for now, and then AIOZ might be exciting soon. But for the most part, at this point, we're just going to be watching Bitcoin. I'm going to be dollar cost averaging every time it drops. So unfortunately, everything already pumped back up a little bit. So once it drops back down a little bit, I'm going to add a little bit more to my bag. You know what I mean? It's for me right now, every drop you add, right? You don't want to see a big green candle and then add. Obviously, I added some over here just because this was our initial start. But now it's like, all right, big green candle, nope. Only on the drops you want to add. Unless it's like a coin you really want and it's still cheap. You know what I mean? Because like you have to look at the big picture. Look at like Atlas. I actually like Atlas. They have an actual like game in progress. They're showing betas and stuff. For Atlas, where it's at right now, to go back to its all-time high, 6,000%. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not one of those like little cheapy little like NFT games. They're actually trying to work on a really big system. They're under Solana, so it's fast. No like expensive fees to transfer coins. Solana does dump crash every now and then, which I really don't like. But apparently, their community don't even care. They'll still buy it even though their network is down. So that's good. That gives me hope for Solana, right? Maybe I'll probably start adding Solana. It's at 32 cents, not too bad. But look at this. Like you gotta understand like. To go back to all-time high, 6,000%, right? You don't want to look at every single meme and go, oh, well, what's the all-time high? Oh, 8,000, 20,000%. Make sure it has something like they're actually working on something, right? For like other coins to be like, oh, it's going back up. Oh, I'm going to get this. Where's Quant at? 104. Quant's still expensive. Now, I don't want to drag on the video because honestly, I'm just talking right now. So... And the video is at 18 minutes, so it's already a pretty big video. So just quick little recap. I'm gonna wait for it to push back down later on a little bit today. I don't think it's gonna push back down a lot, so we'll probably close this. So we'll probably have a day or two where it's a green candle, kind of just like sideways movement, and then eventually drop back down below this, back down to the 18, and then 17. Once we lock in that 17, that should be my bottom, where it's like, all right, that was like the last target we needed. And Bitcoin also has a second arrow needs to go back up, so we need to go back up to 28 soon. So we'll see how that plays out. So thank you for watching, and up next is obviously the advertisement. So to stay up to date, I recommend joining our Discord, which is go to memberships. So we have a few little tiers. I have a $10 one where you can see all my YouTube videos that I post daily, so you can get some updates there. For $30 a month, you get access to the Discord and signal alerts that I send out. $60 a month, I call it the Edge because you can actually request certain charts. So for example, like if I go to request, people will start requesting these coins. I'll come in here, give you an update. Sometimes I'll post a whole video. Sometimes I'll just put like just simple text. It makes it easier because that way you don't want to get into a coin that, it could be at a bottom or it could be at a top. You know what I mean? You want to know like where it's at. Is it a good time to get in? Bad time to get in? We also post some scalping trades. The trades have mostly been focused on Luna right now, and it's probably going to switch over to Sheba. And you can also do 2 Zoom sessions with me a month. So like let's say you want to go over to over your portfolio. You know, you have a problem with the wallet, you have some other questions, you know, crypto related or anything else, honestly. And a lot of people actually use it to vet. You know what? Cryptos is really stressful. It's not something that easy. You know, you don't just get in, make $1 million and walk out. You know what I mean? There's people who come in, make $1 million and then write it all the way back down. It's super rare for someone not to. And I also have 2 offers that I do. One is a one-on-one personal scalp trading course, which isn't just scalp trading. It could be for like regular trading as well. It's just the fundamentals of it, about the emotions, money management. You know, the trading part's the easy part. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand. Trading is so easy. It's the emotional and money management that actually makes it very, you know, that makes it difficult and can determine whether you could be successful at trading or not successful. I also have a video in case, you know, you don't want to do the one-on-ones or nothing like that. But that would be it. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next video. All right, bye everyone.